What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk. This might be a bit of a long video, but today we are finally going to damage test TIONA the way she deserves to be damage tested. And if you guys don't know the potential of this unit, I will forewarn you, the damage I'm getting out of here pales in comparison to what she can actually produce. Now, I know the numbers. I've actually pre-recorded all this, so I know what we're going to produce on this video. And I'm going to warn you right now, I am pretty much going to falter where I want to succeed. But let's go ahead and jump into the recent record buster. Now, I know this team isn't optimal necessarily for this, but this team is built literally just to get a number out of them, and literally just everybody's here to boost TIONA. That's it. That's everybody's just here boosting TIONA. That is the whole reason they exist. I don't care if they die on turn 12. I really just here to get that final number. So we're going to go in here and do basically some buffing and some debuffing. Now, the thing you want to be aware of when you're trying to get the most out of TIONA is that she not only buffs herself 150% per strength buff, but also per magic buff. And the best part about this, because Finn buffs everybody, he gives something like, what is it, I think 150% total buff to his strength, his magic, your strength, your magic. So the numbers you will see out of this event are phenomenal. Just insane. Like, in the realm that we probably have not seen at all ever before in the game, with rare exception and extreme team building, which was one of the goals today. So here on turn 4. Now, the thing to remember is you've got to remove these buffs every SA. So our goal is to get a quad SA on turn 12. Because frankly, if you don't remove those buffs, you're going to be a world of hurt. Now, this will set us a baseline right here. This is just going to set us a baseline attack with her. And this is just a single SA with her. No big deal. Nothing too crazy. And what does she produce? 3.83 million. Now, I want you to take that number and ponder this for a moment. 3.83 million damage from a single SA. Okay? I don't think there's anybody in the game that can even come close to that. Now, like I said, we are buffed pretty extensively. But that's kind of going to be our baseline damage on this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and move forward a little bit in this. As you can see, this kind of took a few attempts, but let's go ahead and get a little deeper into this. So now we're on turn 7. And remember, with the, to get the quad SA, we basically have to, like, hold off on doing any other SA. So I did have to do another run after that initial run that we did. I'm going to go ahead and move forward a little bit more. Here's the second run. All right, here we go. So turn 6. So we're saving all of our SAs, because if you're going to do this right and you're going to pull this off, you basically have to hold off any kind of SA until that sweet moment on turn 12. So that does mean we have to use someone like the Lightheart Hime to get rid of strength and magic buffs. Now, would it be preferable to have someone like Belle on this team to do better debuffs? Yes, it would be preferable. But there's just really no way to build that on there, because you still have to remove the strength buff, or you're simply not going to survive turn 8. Turn 8 is going to kill you. In fact, turn 4 probably will kill you, to be honest, because his buff is so absolutely bonkers. Okay, so we're going to use obviously Yosuga for the healing, and we're going to use Cicada Shell to remove the strength and magic buff. That's going to be extremely important in getting past this. Even then, it's not going to feel great, but it's... With some of these tests, you just kind of have to roll with the punches, all right? So, here we go. Good stuff. Let's see what we got here. Now, he's going to SA, and basically from this next point going on is going to be the most critical spot in our entire run, okay? So, this next one is going to be fascinating and very, very, very important. So, at this juncture, I need to make sure that we buff the 20% single target. I need to make sure we debuff his damage, otherwise we're simply not going to live. And we need to make sure our debuff stack is on point. So let's just get all that going here on basically turn 1. Now, we do have the quad SA. Normally you would pull this out like right now, but remember, we have to wait till Finn buffs himself, and he's not going to do that till the end of turn 11. So everything going from this point forward is literally just getting us to that spot. Once we're there, we'll be golden, but we're just working up to that very, very, very moment on turn 12 where we can finally pull everything out and get this moving. All right. So, not doing anything too crazy here. And like I said, you got to make sure that everything is buffed and debuffed going into this, because if you don't have those debuffs in play, you're simply not going to be able to produce the kind of damage you're going to want to produce. And once again, we could wait until like turn 13, but again, you would have to remove his strength and magic buff. So like everything's got to line up perfectly for this to happen. Okay, so here's his big buff. And at this juncture, we've basically got to make this work. Now, that's why we've been wasting some SA gauge charge by not doing this. So, Aisha here, her buff, remember, is going to be 100%. While we're not getting the 100% out of Haruhime, we are using her for the extra damage that the SA is going to give. That said, Aisha is necessary to get the max damage out of TIONA, because she gives 100% of that fire buff per turn. Now, this, in a normal circumstance, you would not want to use Haruhime's buff on the same turn as Aisha's, because Aisha's is fire damage times 1 turn, but we really only care about the damage we produce on this 1 turn. So realistically, doing this isn't beneficial in any real-world scenario. Like, you would never really do this to try to get numbers out of Record Buster, because you're going to fail miserably. You really probably want to save Haruhime's SA until turn 13. So you do like a double or triple here, and then do Haruhime's on turn 13 to get a real honest-to-goodness number out of Record Buster. But then again, you probably wouldn't use Aisha, and then there's major problems with this team for the overall damage perspective of Record Buster. So don't think this is going to give you, absolutely insane stuff. But we're getting this 100% fire attack damage buff, and now we're going to use this skill. The SA with TIONA is wild. Ultra Fire magic attack damage, 150% per each target's strength and magic buff skill. I think that was the one thing that we were lacking from the early translation. So every strength buff gives you 150%. Every magic buff gives you 150%. Imagine if you had a unit that actually had strength and magic buffs on the assist side as well. How wild this number would actually be. But I don't think there's any real-world scenario where you can use that outside of Wargame, and then, well, congratulations, you one-shot one unit in Wargame and you pissed everybody else off. So we could try that, but man, that would be so tough to pull off. If you guys want to see that, let me know in the comments section. I can attempt something with that, but my god, that would be, because Wargame is auto-run anyway, so it'd be like impossible to actually pull off anyway, so it's pointless. But I digress. Wouldn't that be kind of fun? Now, man, if they would apply skill flow to Warframe, Wargame, that would almost be too broken. It would be really cool, because it would really make the difference between people that not just know how to make teams, but also know how to run their teams. But I almost think Wargame is about team building. It's a PvP action of team building. So I digress. Let's get into it. Let's see what the damage is. Now, if we talk about why Light Haruhime is here, she's really here just for the early buff removals. Hers doesn't really do much of anything for this. It's more of a buff for light teams, but she's there for the strength and magic buff removal on turns 4 and 8. So she's not going to do anything. Would it be nice to have a 25% single target buff? That's the next highest in the game, sure. But I mean, the number's already going to be pretty wild. So let's see if we can pull this out here and see what we've got. Now, we're not too worried about everybody else's damage. Remember, she's an AoE, so if we get 1 million out of her, it'll be like a short miracle. Because remember, we also haven't buffed AoE damage, so it's probably gonna be like 3/4 of a mil. All right, go girl. Man, her SA takes forever. It's beautiful, but it takes forever. Like I said, about 3/4 of a mil. Now, here is the moment of truth. Let's see if we can pinpoint this. All right. So, What you got, girl? What you got? I'm going to try to pause this on the exact moment of contact. Bam. 6.998. Now, if you guys have been here for the streams, we actually did a test run of this, so we got 7.3. So this is like probably the lowest possible side of RNG. 7.3 would be like the highest possible. I mean, this is basically 7 million. Let me rephrase this. This is 7 million. 7 million damage in Record Buster. That's nuts! This unit is so incredibly broken. I really want to find a way to work Aisha on my final team. I haven't found a way to do it yet, but shy of... I mean, it's just vanity at that point. Like, I just would love to see this every single turn. And I just don't think it's realistic in a worldly scenario. Also, Aisha's not max limit broken, but it doesn't really matter to TIONA's damage, because TIONA's damage is entirely dependent on that 100% buff. So we got the major magic buff from Finn. Finn member buffs everybody. So we're not using 100% buff. We're using 150. It's 100. I think it's 150% buff he's got going on. 100% fire buff. We do not have. We have 35% magic and fire resistance. There is the new Bell that can do 50%, or yeah, 50% magic physical and fire technically. And there is a way to get a 25%, but that is trying to 25% single target debuff, but that is from an SA and basically requires that we not use Haruhime, which basically means we wouldn't have a healer. So, with all that said, is there something live right now we could use to test that damage? Oh yeah, Familia Royale is live. So we're going to pop in here to Familia Royale. The team is literally, as you can see, we've added Bell on here, and we've got Alfred now for the single target debuff, because we don't need to remove strength and magic buffs in the same way that we needed to with the other one. And if you're asking why couldn't we remove strength and magic buffs with TIONA's third skill, or second skill, I'm sorry, like we will here, it's simply because it's too slow. By the time that takes place, basically we've already been killed. You almost, with Record Buster, you have to remove that buff like immediately, if not sooner. So everything we're going to be doing here is going to be building up to this spot. Now, if you've watched my video on the third run of this, you'll know that this could take some time because he's going to buff himself. We got to debuff him. So I'm going to fast forward a bit and get to the juicy part. So you can see the SA gauge going up there. Now, what we need to do is we need to wait for a moment where he's got a strength and magic buff. Now, he had one on that turn, but we had to remove it for the safety of Bell. Bell's only +2, so we had to worry about his survivability. And at the end of that turn, you know, he gets rid of that strength and magic buff. So, yeah, we've got to play it pretty cautiously. So we're going to go on here for a couple more turns, just letting the SA gauge continue to fly high. Now, and literally just waiting for his strength and magic buff to kind of, I guess, respawn, for lack of a better way to put it. Normally with that big SA, he would remove his all of his debuffs, but he didn't seem to do that this time around. He's got a strength buff there. I'm going to remove it for safety's sake. Now, this is the worst part here, is he did debuff us. So that's why Aisha is really critical on this one, because not only does she give us the 100% buff, but she also gets rid of those strength and magic buffs on the next turn. So, there they go. They am gone. And the back! So annoying. So annoying. So we've got to go ahead and get rid of those again. Like I said, we're just kind of in a waiting game now. Plus, I'm also a little worried about Bell, because Bell is really low on MP, as is Aisha. But it is what it is. So we got the, I believe the strength and magic buff are both up there now. All the debuffs are gone. We are going to have to put the debuffs back in play, but it doesn't really matter if we survive this turn. So, when we're choosing SAs, remember, Haruhime is going to give strength and magic 100% for 3 turns. That's going to be really important. That's going to give TIONA a 100% straight, or 100% magic stat, which is going to be really important for the late, for basically her SA. Then we're going to obviously use This one again from Aisha, give us the 100% magic, or 100, I'm sorry, 100% fire damage. So that one really doesn't need any introduction. Now the strange one here, the one that we kind of have brought in with Belle instead of what we did before, is physical, magic, and fire resistance minus 50%. All right? Now all of that, coupled with the SA from TIONA, should result in some crazy, crazy numbers. And I'm talking, I expect numbers we've never seen in this game before. So let's go ahead and let's see here. Now he's got strength and magic up 40%, but that doesn't really affect us. All we care about is the fact that he's buffed, because that's going to give us both 150% stats on our attacks. So let's get in here and see what she can do. Now, right now in the comments, pause the video and place your bets. Let me know what kind of damage you think. Is she going to breach the 8-digit figure? Is she willing to do it? And I will also add in here, we've level 35 fire skill in the Familia. We're not level 40 yet. I didn't want to waste all of our points doing that just for a video, because I don't want to mess up what the Familia has been doing. But I don't know, if the Familia wants me to go full 40, they can let me know and we can redo the test. But let's see here. I'm not expecting much out of her. And frankly, she'd probably be a little bit better if we did Belle's first. But remember, Belle doesn't really get any buffs. So now he's... Ooh, that was a full mill, though. And I forgot she's a material killer, too. So that's part of it. So Belle here, not a material killer, but now he's got fire 100%, and he's got strength 100%. Now, the debuff, not really in place, and he's resistant to it. So if we get 500k, I'll be lucky. All right, let's see. What's Belle got? Ooh. Ooh. That was... Ugh. Okay, that was way worse than I expected. But, once again, he's not a material killer. He's physical, and Apollo's buffed against physical. Let's see what TIONA is capable of here. See if I can once again pause this on the number.
Damn!
Almost killed him is the sad reality. So let me point out, this is critical and this is penetration. He did not guard. I will say, if you want to rerun this on your own, if you have Hephaestus max limit broken, because I do not. One of the downfalls of my team is that the Hephaestus that buffs magic damage, I'm sorry, fire damage, well, magic and fire, she's only giving me 10%, not the full 15. So had I had her maximum broken, this would have easily, without question, broken 10 mil. If I had had fire damage for the Familia up to level 40, this may have broken 10 mil. Little better RNG might have done the same thing, but either way, just crazy, just wild and crazy numbers here. So if you really want to round up, it's 9.57. In all reality, it's basically 10 mil damage, which is unprecedented. But I'm here to tell you, she's got more in her. Mine is maxed out. I do have her weapon ascended. It is fully ascended. It is currently got the double critical and a magic 30. If I had basically rerolled it to double critical and magic 30 and 10, we'd probably gotten a tiny bit more out of here. Not insanely more, but I don't know if that would have eked it over. That would have might have gotten like another $250,000 out of it or so. But just a crazy, crazy, crazy number. I'm willing to bet, if you really wanted to rerun this, if you like saved the skill flow and did this over and over and over again, inevitably you would get a good RNG and you get 10 mil out of them. That is truly an epic, epic, epic number. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. What was your guess? I will go ahead and check the comments for everybody's guesses. And yeah, are you surprised at all? I have heard tell she's capable of upwards of 12 million if you have everything absolutely perfect, which I do not. So if I could ever get the final bond for my Hephaestus, I would definitely go back and retest this. I doubt it's going to happen in the next 24 hours. But if I could drum up another Prism Bond, I would absolutely do it and throw it at this. I wish I could. She's just chilling at +4 right now. Or technically +3, but I can make her +4. But I'm not trying to waste that final Prism Bond. So if I could come up with another Prism Bond, I would. And I would have her right now. But luck just isn't on my side. You guys can go ahead and rerun this test. Let me know what kind of numbers you got if you did rerun this test in the comments section. And we're shooting for, let's shoot for 11 mil. See, if you guys can beat my number and get 11 mil out of Apollo, at me on Twitter, post the screenshot, and I'd really love to see this. I think it'd be truly, truly, truly awesome. For now, that's going to be the video. Like, comment, make sure you share and subscribe. I'm going to be back at you guys with more Danmachi really soon.